We highlight the stories of impact innovators and connect them with the allies they need to amplify the good they can do in the world. I'm your host, Jacob Haney. I'm here with my good friend, Robert Rubinstein with Triple Bottom Line Investing. We've curated a community of people that actually walk the talk. Posers don't tend to stick around. Wherever I travel in the world, I'll reach out to you and just say, who are the good people I should meet? You always have somebody that's genuine. Kudos to you for taking the long-term view of building community. That's what I feel like we need so much more of, as opposed to just extracting from people. You've invested in a lot of people to build them up. And just honored to call you a friend and grateful for your mentorship and influence.
That's very kind of you to say that. You're also one of the few authentic eccentrics that is non-extractive. So actually understand there's abundance, let's share. So I've always admired that. And but we're a fine wine like you. It's not for everybody. Most people like Coke. Thank you for those kind words. And I look forward to connecting you with many other brilliant people, and that we have lots of fun, making the financial system work for everyone.
I'm curious, what got you on this path of impact, from an illustrious career in oil drilling or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, well, from working on oil rigs in Iran and the North Sea and Texas, I did a lot of different things, and then I got into publishing. I started a successful bicycle magazine, and that ultimately led me to Management Magazine on sustainability in '95. But the that didn't work out. The bicycle magazine was a financial and spiritual success, and the management magazine was only a spiritual success and financial disaster. And uh, I still wanted to create an economy based upon well-being, and I figured I had to convince the financial sector, because they had great power and the wealth concentration in small hands. I needed to convince them that sustainability was in their interest. So I was always purpose driven, maybe because for my parents, always trying to do what's right, and that the present economic system, the way of working, in particular the finance sector, it didn't seem in the interest of society or the environment. That's why I started TBLI, to help educate those asset owners and hopefully change their mindset and the behavior around sustainability. So that's always been the purpose. And fortunately, as you know or don't, there is no group more predictable than the financial sector. It's just a bunch of overpaid alpha males who run up the hill and jump off the cliff at the same time. So it was not hard in getting behavioral change doing all of our international summits. The challenge was access. The more money someone had, the more isolated. So that was the whole idea. It's very, very simple, but it's very long-term farming. It's not hunting. It's no magic bullet. Oh, if I do that, I'm going to get $50 trillion going in this direction. It's grabbing the shovel and digging the hole and doing the work, which is why most people don't want to bother doing that. It takes a long, long time. Even the ones that are super well connected, well, like Malkin, not Malkin, Milken, with his big event. Um, he doesn't really move the needle of the World Economic Forum with all of the influence. These Davos in the desert, same thing. So because most people in the financial sector are comfortable with the present situation, why change it? Why bother?
Um, so, I mean, TBLI has had some different, it's evolved over those 25 years, and even from in-person events and larger summits. And maybe just walk me through that evolution and where is it now and what are you focusing on now?
We just want to work with non-extractive, generous people. And there are plenty of them, a lot in our network, and you're definitely at the top of the list. It's just what frustrates me is that in 25 years, I've never said anything different than I said 25 years ago. It's frustrating that it's taking so long to get through fundamentally. There's still a lot of interest, and impact investing and sustainability has turned into a membership card to a fitness club and showing everyone you have the membership card, but you never go and actually do the exercise on the machines. But you're showing everybody you've got the membership card. And that needs to stop. That really needs to stop. That's beyond greenwashing. When we started, there weren't any major events around ESG at the time. It was SRI, social responsible investing, and we were one of the first to do large events. In Europe, in Asia, Latin America, North America. Obviously, we got hurt badly when the financial crisis hit, and had to really downsize a lot, but figured out a way of keeping the lights on and keeping the outreach going and continuing the educational outreach. Then when COVID hit, we had to retool ourselves again because we couldn't travel and had to do everything virtually. So virtual master classes, podcasts, investor salons, mixers, so everything around continuing that capacity building. Um, and we did also private dinners for small groups. We did retreats. We tried many things that would help in allowing people to better understand that we're not talking about sacrifice. We're talking about resilience. And but it's always was very hard because the only way really to make significant revenue is you have to lie. You got to say, "Oh, Jacob, give me $30,000, $40,000, and I'm going to put you in front of 100 family offices who all are billionaires or multimillionaires." And you foolishly do that, and everybody you meet is asking you for money, and you don't meet all of those asset owners, or you spend a fortune sponsoring a very big event, no critical thought because we don't want to upset the sponsors, so you don't really learn anything, and everybody's busy making selfies with you, but they never answer your call when you follow up with them. So it's hard because everybody wants to be part of the club and want to be part of the party because the herd is moving in the direction of sustainability and impact. And there are very few who are asking, Jacob, how can I waste more money? How can I burn more fossil fuels? How can they're not, or how can I produce more CO2? They're not talking like that. So it's just not moving as quickly as we would like. We have to retool the whole economy, and that takes a while. And there are a lot of people who might lose, the fossil fuel industry, etc. So, most people want the big annual event where you get lots of excitement, but then nothing happens after that because people don't respond. And it's about singles and doubles. It's not about home runs and grand slams. And too many in the industry are searching for the home runs and the grand slams, to put it in baseball terms. But it's long term farming. It's not hunting. And we're working with this sector, the financial sector, that are hunters. And some are pirates, but in general, they're incentivized for short term behavior. And you're talking about slowly, doing the works. Get the seeds will come up when they're ready. You can't microwave that. And everyone is kind of busy being busy, and not enough people want to do the work or share. or it's just about extraction. And that can get quite depressing. And very few people are willing to talk like the guy behind me, George Carlin, and say, "Sorry, Jacob, but your children are quite ugly. What you're doing is not really special." And I see it all the time, even though I know the people and they're not stupid, but they're in a member organization, so they don't want to piss off the members and that. And we need more radical truth. We need more critical thought, not less. And we need to say, sorry, but it's not real. You're not really getting anywhere. So it's still the same work. It's still grabbing the shovel, digging the hole, doing the work on with, and be happy with little wins, small wins. A, a big win, that's that probably won't happen in my life. So who knows? Maybe my book will be very popular. We'll see.
Yeah, so tell me about the book and what was the impetus for that? Because I know, I mean, that sort of, you've been the George Carlin of impact in the sense of speaking the radical truth or what people need to hear but don't want to hear. But yeah, tell me about what sparked the book and when it's coming
Well,
out and all the details.
I was always a fan of George Carlin. My Ricky and my wife and son, were always very big fans because uh, he didn't try to embarrass someone, like Don Rickles did, or just insult that. He was very critical of the entire system, and he saw clearly how it doesn't function wrapped in a nice bow that it looks like it does function. So that was a great inspiration. And then having done 40 international summits and having dealt with the financial sector at the highest level, from the highest private banks, wealth managers, pension funds, insurance companies, endowments, high net worth, and seeing how that system, and even business schools, I taught at a ranked MBA school, and starting to see, wow, this is just like incredible ammunition for someone like George Carlin. So I put together, an outline of what should I be covering, the wealth management industry, the asset management, the consultants, the strategy consultants, the business schools, the impact networks, all the government, all everything that impacts how that financial system works, and kind of write it in an irreverent George Carlin style to expose why our financial systems and educational system, particularly business schools, are basically literally burning down the planet for profit. But at the same time, how we can turn it around. It's not just saying, okay, everything's is terrible, let's give up. No, it's first understand that what the present system is doing, how it's not functioning for except for a few, and that we need to be critical of that. The downside of that is it doesn't make you popular because we won't get invited to the to the big events to give a keynote speech because they don't want us to say what we're saying. So I'm hoping that the book can reach a large group through ebooks and printed. Um, I was going to try to get a publisher, but I found out that they're only interested in brand names that have already a large following. So we'll, self-publish. It's called Radical Truth, and hopefully it will wake people up, that they can see that it's possible to turn this around. It's not that impossible, to do. It doesn't have to be like that.
Nice. So when does it come out? When does the book come out,
Good
and
question.
where is it
My brother
available?
has been editing. I was nearly done, and then he said, you should add to each chapter how TBLI influenced that change. So I started looking. Hey, wait a minute! That Flash Boys, that book that Michael Lewis wrote, we were the first to invite the guy who developed that whole ethical uh, fund management system to stop algorithmic high speed trading. I forgot about it. So I started looking at all of the things we had done from interviews or events or that. So I started adding that to the last of each chapter. And that was okay. And then my brother said, this is getting a bit boring. You got to start looking at that again. So I have to go through that. I had written all the chapters, but I need to go through that last part. Because we were really early on so many levels. I mean, I was amazed when we started in 97, 96, and some of the things, the people that we brought in there, the head of UBS. I still have a little bit of, I hope to be able to publish this Q4. Hopefully, I still have other things to do, but hopefully then.
I mean, there's no shortage of things to despair about or get frustrated with in the world today. So, I mean, where do you see hope? Where do you see the positive things?
The mayor election in New York. I'm, in spite of the fact that, people want to phrase him as Hamas supporter, I'm very encouraged by an intelligent, articulate communicator like Mamdani that out of nowhere, just from 75,000 volunteers, and then the No Kings movement, um, and people in the military leaving because they don't support this particular president. The amount of money going into biodiversity, into fuel free, into true innovation, and many, many, many social entrepreneurs going in that direction. So I see lots of inspiring things. You don't need a lot of people to make fundamental change. Um, and I'm glad there's a little bit more critical thought and pushback about the direction of ESG has gone, which is why we did the Better World Prize. So I'm a bit concerned in the short term. Trump will never fails to fail. He will fail, and he'll crash and burn, and he'll take a lot of families with him, farmers, ranchers, electricians, many, the billionaires will be fine. They'll manage. Um, but at the same time, you see lots and lots of people pushing back. People from the media creating new media to stop this craziness, this concentration of wealth. So I'm concerned in the short term. I'm optimistic in the long term, but we will have a very difficult time with relation to climate change and storms and damage, and that will be hard. Basically, mitigation. I don't think we're going to be able to do it in time, and it'll be much more about adaptation. And most people are looking for a tribe in one way or another. They're looking for a place that they can be themselves and uh, um, pursue their big purpose. But there's still a lot who are just frightened. I'm also very encouraged that many people with talent will leave large institutions once they realize this is not where I need to be, like you did many years ago. Staying and doing the same old crap that you were doing by profiting and facilitating environmental social destruction is not gonna put a smile on your face.
Yeah. So, what are the allies that you need most right now? If we were to connect you with the right fit kind of people that you're most looking for,
Um,
what are some of those allies look
companies
like?
Company for family offices that are serious about truly embracing sustainability, asset owners that are looking really to do something, not just chat about it, companies that are busy restoring the social environmental balance in a simple to understand technology, not these climate tech sucking CO2 out of the air, these nonsense organizations like that. That's fraud. Um, so organizations that are serious about pursuing their big purpose, being non-extractive, being generous, and if they're in a position of power, whether through wealth or through a network or through a company that they're setting, those are the people we want to engage with and help them. And often it's as simple as connecting them with someone that can get them a bit further. I always used to think all these wealthy people must have each other on speed dial, and they don't. They don't. Sometimes they're working or living in the same building and they never spoke. So just people that are pursuing their big purpose, non-extractive, generous, who want to um, restore the social environmental balance, and not that complex.
Robert, appreciate the good that you do, not in the spotlight, and maybe like the
Never.
Forrest Gump of like starting all these things and being woven into the history of so much that's happened in impact. But
It's very kind of you, but there are a lot of people doing things in silence. The ones doing the most, they talk the least.